Hey guys, welcome back to another breakdown for the WitchBrook developers document. We're going over gameplay. We're going to continue going over gameplay. Last time we left off at gardening, so that's what we're going to pick right back up. So let's go ahead and hop back into it. Gardening. Gardening takes place on gardening patch and requires a player to access target mode. The player will approach a garden plot, which is divided into grid of soil tiles, and target one of the tiles on the grid. The player can then use items from their items list, example seeds, to plant new herbs. Once a herb has been planted, the player must use a target mode to take care of the plant. This might be as simple as using the watering can tool, or it could be as complex as using different spells throughout the plant's growth cycle. Each plant has 3 stages in its growth cycle and will progress to the next stage when a certain number of days has passed, with the number of days depending on the plant being grown. Plants only need to be attended to once within each stage of growth. The way the player chooses to attend to the plant can drastically affect the outcome of the adult plant and the resources it produces. The player has an additional single garden plot available in a flower pot in their room. Sleeping with a particular flower in their room may affect the player the next day. Example, increased stamina, etc. I think it's a cool different spin on it to, maybe more rare plants that you'll need to use magic instead of just watering them in order for them to grow. I think it's a really cool way to go about it. Sounds to me it's going to be kind of like more of like a graveyard keeper style with the tiles. I mean, I guess you could say Stardew Valley as well. I think, obviously they're heavily influenced by Stardew Valley, which makes sense. But I don't know, we'll just wait and see how the finished product looks. Let's move on to the next thing. Potion making. Potion making takes place inside the school's potions lab. Players access target mode and target various different pieces of equipment inside the lab, including a cauldron and a distillery, and then choose actions to perform on the equipment. Every potion takes 60 seconds, maybe, to brew, and the player must add ingredients and use spells or actions at precise times throughout the 60 seconds. Players that carefully follow a recipe will be rewarded with a potion they're able to use elsewhere. For example, a potion may require the player to add various consumable items to a cauldron at 10 seconds, 30 seconds, and 40 seconds into the process, followed by casting a particular spell on the cauldron at 50 seconds. With all of these activities, it is important potion is filled with surprises to discover. Perhaps telling a joke to a particular brew will cause it to come to life and form a slime creature. This one is a bit out there. Or perhaps using a fishing rod on a particular brew will allow the player to fish up a magical creature. So this is cool. I mean, like they're saying, this is just, like an outline of the things that they're thinking about putting in there. But I like that, just like with casting, trying to catch a rabbit, you got to be quick or you can miss things or mess things up, which is really cool. So they're adding you have to add your consumable items through the target mode at precise times in order to complete the potion, which is very kind of sim-like, trying to draw you into that world. I really like that. I really am excited to see how that would work out. And of course the last part right here was just examples of things that might just coming up with ideas, just kind of trying to let you understand what they're going about. So just don't take anything on that last one too hard or serious or anything. Just coming up with ideas. Again, let's go to the next one. I kind of spent too much time on this, but I thought it was really exciting. So, cooking takes place inside the cafe. Players access target mode and various different pieces of equipment inside the cafe, including a stove and an oven, and choose actions to perform on the equipment. Cooking mirrors potions, making it quite closely but is less time focused. However, should cooking go on too long, the result will turn into a ruined meal. Items, perhaps this item could be used for a fun interaction elsewhere. It's like, an overview. So it looks like it's not going to be too much in focus, but it's going to be a class that you can do. So Wizard dueling. Wizard duels play out like traditional JRPG battles with other students that are a part of the dueling club. Both the player and the opponent will attempt to disarm each other using the spells at their disposal. Duels may also take place with monsters or non-character NPCs as parts of quests or activities. Through combat and danger should not become the player's focus. That's interesting. Like, you know, I love JRPGs, you know, like old school Final Fantasy games, and you know, a lot of it on the Game Boys and stuff is what it reminds me of. Final Fantasy X, things like that. I am looking forward to that, but I'm also glad that they're saying here that, you know, they're not trying to have that become your focus. So that's cool though. It's cool that they added it into the game. Maybe it'd be like Stardew Valley. You know, I don't know. I keep referencing Stardew Valley and Graveyard Keeper and games like that, but you know, they have some combat aspects of it if you choose it or not. Mail and stamp collecting. The player's dorm is equipped with a mailbox through which they will routinely receive mail from other NPCs. Sometimes the mail will come with a gift attached and the player will receive a free item. Various letters and gifts are unblocked via reaching certain social ranks or completing certain events. I like that sound right there, social ranks. So you're going to school, it's a simulation, but there's also social ranks that you can reach. Is something else that they're trying to add in. I like that. So the mail system, to me, it kind of reminds me of things like Animal Crossing, which I think that, you know, made that pretty big. I think it's just a small, cool little feature that they're adding into it. Crafting. Players are able to use the school's crafting equipment to combine items and unlock new tools. This is achieved through targeting mode MN. How? To be dated. Crafting recipes for essential tools are found in the school library, whereas additional tools may be found elsewhere in the game world. They're still thinking about that stuff. It's still just, you know, just ideas. Like I said, just ideas. Astrology. Astrology tasks placed inside the astrology tower. The tower is old and run down. Students and teachers alike often comment that astrology is pseudo-magic and doesn't really work. When a player approaches the giant dusty telescope inside the tower and interacts, they transition to a full screen of stars and planets. The target mode activates and the player is able to target planets and stars of interest. The player can attempt to read the stars. This is all to be dated, what they're thinking about, which involves perhaps using a specific spell on a star, and each star reveals part of a message. The player can piece this message together to learn something about the game world. For example, the weather, where a rare artifact might be. However, though, this information is always incorrect and the player should believe the teachers or students were right. Later in the game, the player discovers a lens in the telescope was the wrong way around. Suddenly, all predictions become true. That'd be kind of funny. That's all just to be dated though. Let's keep on reading. Some way into the game, the player is able to obtain a familiar. The familiar lives in the player's dorm room and can be asked to follow the player at any time. If dismissed, it returns to the player's dorm room. When navigating the world, the familiar has a number of bespoke visual interactions with various areas of the game world. Often these interactions are fourth wall breaking. The player can feed the familiar various items by targeting the familiar's food bowl in the dorm room. The familiar will react in various different ways with different items to different degrees and satisfaction in emotes, etc. The familiar's level of contentment is hidden to the player, but a content familiar will occasionally bring home gifts for the player. I like that. They're really trying to do a lot of little comedy, a lot of fourth wall breaking, a lot of little funny anecdotes here and there and reactions for things. I really, really like that. Looking forward to it too, what can be a familiar. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right here. In the next video, we're going to be going over the game world and the different locations. And depending on how in-depth it is, we might be able to cover a little bit of events in the locations as well. But yeah, come talk to me what you guys thought about this video, what you guys want to see, if you're excited about the game. I'd love to hear about it. Like and subscribe for more. We're going to be continuing to break down this document. Link as always going to be in the description below, and I'm definitely going to be covering this game when news does come out. So if you wanted to give a like and a subscribe to the channel to keep updated on that. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate y'all's time, and I will see y'all in the next one.